Shohei, when you look at just this outing, it's clear you had all of your stuff working. Can you describe just navigating through their lineup and being so efficient tonight?
登板振り返って、効率よく球の質も良かったんですけども、どう思いました？
全体的に調子が良かったのかなと思うんですけども、やっぱりいいペースでは来てたので7回までいければベストだったかなとは思います。
Felt really good overall. I just hope that I was able to get into the seventh.
In that sixth inning, how did you find just kind of the stuff playing? So we obviously saw the emotions with that final strikeout.
6回スリーアウト取った時も感情的でしたけども、その回を振り返ってみてどうでした？
どうですか、ライン線抜けて幸い2、3塁で収まってはいたので、もう最後は三振だけ狙いに行って、投げました。
Yeah, double down the line. Thankfully, the run didn't score, so it was a big out for me to be able to get that punch out.
Talk about wanting to get into the seventh inning. I mean, what do you think the need is from your side to be able to get back out there and just, I guess, pitch count was at 93, but to put yourself in a position to push some more?
どういう工夫で7回投げれるかっていうか、
どうですか、今日はもう 0-0 だったので、球数よりももう1点もやらないことの方が重要だったので、ゲームを見ながら打ち取らせるところはしっかり前に飛ばせて、早いカウントでアウトが取れれば長くは投げれるとは思いますけど、今日のゲームはそういうゲームではなかったので、1イニング1イニングどっちが先に点を取るかのゲームだったのかなと思っています。
Yeah, just considering the game score, it was really important to not give the first run of the game, so I was really focused on that. Now, if I had the lead, then I think I would have been able to, pitch to contact and reduce the pitch count. But today it was just reading the situation, the game score. I just had to prioritize on getting outs. So マウンドでウィル君に指示をしていたっていうか、どの球種を投げたいかと言ってました。
いや、それはもうピッチコムでやるので、自分が投げたいボールはピッチコムで出す感じかなと思います。
No, I do that with the pitch com.
Kind of a melancholy bendy on a Thursday morning. Welcome everybody to the Blue Review presented by LAX. I'm Marcus Grant. That is Greg Bergman. We'll talk about it, Greg, but that's pretty much my analysis.
4 of the last 5, Marcus. 4 of the last 5, and still have tied for the best record in all of baseball. So it's fine, but it's not all fine. And what we do here is we nitpick.
So we will nitpick the Dodgers 3-0 loss to the Giants last night. But first, want to let you know that the Blue Review is powered by LAX. We're taking off. Learn more about all the incredible changes happening now at LAX by going to lawa.org/ESPN. So, where to begin? There are a lot of things that sort of went sideways last night, but I think the simplest analysis of what happened yesterday was that for the second night in a row, the offense just didn't show up, Greg. I mean, in 2 games, 1 run, 6 hits, that's not going to win you a whole lot of ball games.
Not going to win you a whole bunch of ball games at all. And yeah, the offense has sputtered over the last 5 games. If you take out the game on Monday where they just went nuclear in Coors Field, the offense has not been good. And it's, I get it, it's still early, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, they're going to be fine. It's early, April, whatever. It's not been good recently, and it's been all the way up and down the lineup. It's even Andy Pages, who was scorching hot, has not been good over the last 15 days. He has been a bit of a mess. Nobody's really hitting, and that includes Shohei Ohtani. Definitely not doing anything. Pages is what does he have here? 11 of his last 43 when he was on fire. Guys like Kyle Tucker, who I know we're going to talk more about, 10 for his last 49. Like, that's over the last 15 games. If you want to make it a little bit shorter, over his last 7 games, where that's what we're really talking about, Kyle Tucker's 5 for 23. Andy Pages is 3 for 19. They're just not hitting at this point. So having to and then when you go from Coors Field, this is what we talked about a little bit yesterday, go from Coors Field where you can hit, and then you go to a pitcher's park in Oracle, it's a whole different world, and it just screws with your whole setting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. And you go from maybe the best hitter's park in all of baseball to maybe the worst or one of the worst hitter's parks in all of baseball. There's definitely a noticeable difference there. I mean, you were going from being a mile up to sea level, playing, as Max Muncy might say, playing next to the ocean there in San Francisco. But even to your point, this team wasn't really hitting all that well in Colorado. So it seems as though they really have just collectively hit a slump at a bad time. Because even early when they weren't necessarily crushing the ball, there were always a couple of guys who were hot. You mentioned Andy Pages, who was on fire to start the season. They were getting contributions from the bottom part of the lineup, whether it was Hesong Kim, Miguel Rojas, occasionally Alex Freeland. But the last 4 or 5 nights, excluding that Monday explosion, it just hasn't been there from anybody. And I guess might as well just rip this Band-Aid off now. Sayonara to Shohei Ohtani's on-base streak. It was fun while we knew you. But
I mean, he's not the greatest at everything in this is one thing that he'll be the second best and tied. Is that tied too? So.
Tied with Sean Green at 53 games. Right. It was an amazing run for Shohei in terms of this on-base streak. But hey, who's to say he can't start a new one and see how long that goes?
Absolutely, has plenty of other chances.
Plenty of other chances. So, but anyway, the Dodgers now 16-8. The Padres also lost last night to the Rockies. So both teams still tied atop the National League West. I don't know. Are we doing scoreboard and standings watching on April 23rd? Okay, cool.
I don't want to be like Dylan Hernandez, who's going off.
It's a gut check.
They lost their lead. What's the date? April 23rd. Are we really talking about the loss of the lead? And they're still tied for that lead and still have tied for the best record in all of baseball. Like, what are we you're talking about loss of lead? What needs to change? Dave Roberts needs to light a fire under their asses. Come on, bro. That's ridiculous.
I did, by the way, love Dave Roberts' response. I don't know if Dylan Hernandez was in the reporter's scrum when he was asked about those sorts of things. And he basically was like, it's not a gut check. He's like, it's not really gut check.
It's gut check time on April 23rd.
He's like, I'm not really concerned about what the Padres are doing. He's like, I'm just focused on us. We're playing pretty good baseball overall, which was the appropriate response to something like that.
He may lie, but he does know how to talk to reporters.
He does know how to talk to reporters. Let's keep going, though, with the offense. You mentioned Kyle Tucker. I know that, you have not named a villain yet. I don't know if you're quite ready to name one. But Kyle Tucker, man, it's frustrating is beyond the word at this point because it just seems like when he's close to getting something going. I thought he was close against the Mets. He had a couple of hard hit balls. He hit the home run. He had that sort of game-winning bleeder the night before. I thought he was close. And now watching him since that Mets series, I don't think he's close anymore.
It doesn't feel close at all, actually. He feels like he's having completely non-competitive at-bats. When he's up, I don't feel like something good is going to happen. And maybe that's just because of bias, because it's been frustrating. But he's swinging at pitches he just, when he was in other places, did not swing at those pitches. He is striking out a massive amount. We've talked about his strikeout numbers 100 times already, and it's only been 24 games. There's a bunch of – he's just not looking good. His range in the outfield doesn't look that great either. There's things that he's doing, and you're like, okay, you're supposed to be a great a defensive outfielder. You haven't shown me that yet. You're supposed to be very patient at the plate and don't strike out very much. You haven't shown me that yet. You're supposed to have a bunch of power. I haven't seen any of that yet. So, yes, super early, and by the end of the year, I still believe that he will be there. But if you just look at him as what he's doing and his demeanor, it's frustrating to watch because he's not getting hits. He's not playing good defense. And when he's walking around the dugout, he looks like he's just got this sour look on his face at all times. What was it the other day? He was talking to someone. He was just like, yeah, I hit a home run. I don't know. It doesn't feel right just yet, and maybe it'll turn. But as of right now, it feels wrong.
It does. It does. No, you're right. Absolutely. I'm glad you said something about his outfield defense, because I've been watching it and I just haven't been really impressed. And I thought maybe it was just me. So I'm sort of glad that somebody else has noticed that as well. Just, I look, it's better than what we saw from Teo Hernandez last year, but it is not, I thought, what we were hoping to get out of him defensively in right field. So yeah, I don't know if it's him I'd say it's him getting used to playing in a new outfield at Dodger Stadium, but I mean, he's been there before. He's been to Coors. He's been to Oracle Park. So it's not that they're all brand new. It just, I don't know if this is part of if the offensive slump is affecting him defensively or what, but I haven't really seen anything that has blown me away from him in the outfield so far. So maybe it's nitpicking. Yes, the chat is noticing that I sort of hinted at something. Yeah, in the text chain, I asked Greg if maybe, because he was frustrated. We're all frustrated with Kyle Tucker right now. Kyle Tucker's frustrated with Kyle Tucker. I asked if maybe he'd be the villain. There's been no definitive verdict on that. No definitive verdict. But I mean,
he could be your villain too. Like last year, you had one. I forgot.
That's true. Who was my villain last year?
I don't remember who it was, but you had one last year. We found.
It was Kirby Yates last year.
Oh yeah, it was Kirby Yates. That's right. You hated Kirby. I loved it. It was so fun to watch.
It was so frustrating. so annoying.
I mean, he can be your. If you want to have Kyle Tucker be your villain, like right now, it's just too early, I think, for any of us to really pick that person. Yeah. But sometimes, it feels like you should pick that person early to let the reverse jinx really sink in and allow it to work its magic. Didn't work for Kirby Yates. Didn't really work for Michael Conforto either. So that was a bust of a year last year. But I'm watching Kyle Tucker right now. He's at the top of the list, but he's not. Yeah, he's at the top of the list, but he's not there just yet. And I think part of it too is because before Kyle Tucker got signed, I spent the entire time whenever we would talk about him on the air with Mason Ireland, with Stano Cap, with DeMarco and Travis, it was, you don't need Kyle Tucker. Kyle Tucker is a luxury and not a need. It feels like a guy like, okay, now you got him, like great, but it's not someone that was necessary. And there was talks about how he was in the dugout, how he was in the locker room, how he was in the clubhouse. And it wasn't great. And now we're seeing it live and in person, watching it every single day. Who knows? I haven't heard anybody say anything negative about Kyle Tucker, but just from the eye test, it looks like he's not great in the clubhouse just because of a solid demeanor. He sits by himself. He doesn't get involved in a lot of things. Even when, who was it? It was Andy Paz he had a home run. And
it was kind of like
he just walked right through it with no emotion whatsoever. I don't know. These are just things to watch. It's early. These are things to watch.
They're things to watch. And I sort of wonder at some point, does he have a big Dodger moment, right? Because I don't know if he's had a huge, true welcome to the Dodgers moment. And will that sort of help? I mean, because that's been one of the defining characteristics of this team during this run, especially in the last 5 or 6 years, is their ability to bring not just players in, but bring in star level players and have them sort of assimilate into the ball club, right? And just kind of become part of the family a little bit. I still go back to the fact that Shohei was sort of a mystery for all those years in Anaheim. He comes here, and now he's, we get to see the many faces of Shohei. I love the faces and the memes and that sort of thing. Like, he really has become a big part of the group, where he was sort of in his own galaxy down there with the Angels. So maybe that happens for Kyle Tucker at some point, and hopefully sooner than later, because, this offense is going to need him at some point during the season. So hopefully that sort of happens.
Hopefully. And real fast in the chat, JF is saying, don't single him out. He's going bad, but the whole lineup ain't on fire though. Yes, you're right. we're not trying to single, but we talk about everybody. We talk about everything that's going on and have talked about other guys. The thing about Tucker and why he is someone that we talk about at a higher level, he's making $60 million a year. But with how it works with the luxury tax, that number is actually up to 110 million about that he's being paid for year by year with the luxury tax. So you're expected to be at a much higher level because of who you are and what you're being paid. So that's why this is it's focused on Tucker right now because of where he is in the lineup, how he's playing defense, how he looks and everything else, and the amount of money he's making. Now we're going to talk about everybody else too. We started this off by saying that Andy Pajes is 3 for his last 19 after how hot he was. We're going to talk about this every single day, 5 days a week. We have to focus on little things.
Focus on something. Yeah, I mean, we can go over down the lineup. I mean, Teoscar Hernandez is on the struggle bus right now. Max Muncy had the huge game, a huge series in Colorado, and hasn't really produced since, I guess in the 2 games since they left Denver. It definitely goes everywhere. I think for me, the Kyle Tucker thing is more that what we have seen from him in the first month of the season is just really out of character with the player he has been and the player he was advertised to be. You talk about his lack of walks, that the strikeout rate is really up. So the pop-ups, the ground outs, that's really frustrating. The strikeouts are what's frustrating to me because that's just not who he was supposed to be. But that's kind of what we got right now. But yes, it's April 23rd. Right. They have played 24 games. Let me do the quick math. That means there's 136 games left. A long time. So things can certainly turn around there.
Do you think that we can get either, there's Tim is back there and Carl's usually back there. We should have a blinking sign that comes up on everything. We understand it's still early.
Right.
We're doing nitpicking.
Yeah, we should just put the date below. It's still April, it's still early May, whatever. We should do something like that for sure.
Shohei?
Yes, I was gonna say, let's talk about something good. Yes, the Shohei streak ended, but Shohei on the mound continues to be fantastic. 6 innings, still or did not give up a run, so still has given up just 2 runs all year. Only one of those earned so far this season, an ERA of 0.38. That's ridiculous. And yeah, I mean, so yes, the offense sputtered. The reason that was, I think, more the reason they lost. The reason they lost wasn't pitching. It wasn't even Jack Dreyer giving up a 3-run homer to Patrick Bailey. I mean, that didn't help. But Greg, the pitching was overall, I thought, fine last night.
No, the pitching was great. I mean, yes, Dreyer's fastball was getting smacked around. He came up. So they were talking about on the broadcast. He was hitters were 1 for 16 against his fastball coming into this. And the first 2 batters that he faced hit his fastball for singles. And then he got just destroyed on a slider after throwing 5 in a row and just hung 2 of them in a row. And he smacked it out. The biggest thing is, we were talking about Shohei. I'll get back to it in a second, but it's what I'm blaming is Joe Davis. Joe Davis.
The announcer jinx.
The announcer jinx. He said he was talking about how he hasn't hit his fastball, his ERA, and then he goes, Patrick Bailey is one of the worst hitters in the major leagues, and then he hit a home run. I was like, oh man, that's fully on Joe right there. That was you, Joe. But Shohei was on the mound, has been everything that you want him to be. I think it's him or Jose Soriano are the 2 best pitchers in baseball right now. Because for the Angels, the dude just doesn't give up runs. But then neither is Shohei, and he's using his pitch mix. He's throwing 100 like it's nothing. It looks effortless out there. He looks very comfortable. He looks like he's not worried about his Tommy John anymore. Yeah. He's just throwing now, and he is a pitcher. So 4 of his starts, he's gone 6+. So you can't be upset with anything that Shohei is doing. He's being really efficient with his pitches too. Keeping his pitch count down. He could have got another inning if that last inning he didn't get a little bit stressed out and have runners on second and third. But he has been very, very good on the mound. Now Dave Roberts is saying that he's not going to hit every time he pitches anymore. So that's going to be something to look forward to.
Yeah, I mean, this could be maybe they're willing to admit it, maybe they aren't. Maybe this is just the opportunity for him to chase the Cy Young a little bit, see if he can focus on the pitching side of things once every 6 days. I can't imagine it's going to be every time he pitches that he doesn't hit. Obviously, he DH'd last night, so I'm curious to see how they balance that, but he's been fantastic. By the way, while you were talking about Shohei, I went and looked, because remember, Patrick Bailey last year hit a big grand slam against the Dodgers to beat them, against Tanner Scott when Scott was going really, really bad. I would love to go back and hear if, because I feel like Joe Davis said something similar about Patrick Bailey. Maybe, I don't remember if Joe Davis was on the broadcast for that game, but I feel like there was something similar where it's like, yeah, this is a guy that you got to get out. Yeah, one of the worst hitters in the league. Yeah, it just felt like it was something similar.
And then boom,
slam.
Home run. Yeah,
grand slam. So I don't know.
This one was a 3-run shot that was the game-winning 3-run shot.
So. Yeah, Patrick Bailey, thorn in the Dodgers side. That's not great. Anyway, through all of this, the Dodgers are 16-8. They are still tied for the best record in baseball, and overall, the outlook still very positive for this team, despite the fact that they're going through a little bit of a hiccup right now. What I thought was sort of the dark cloud over this is that while they're trying to avoid getting swept by the Giants, now they have to deal with Logan Webb. But you were a little more upbeat as much as possible about that situation.
Yeah, so the Dodgers actually hit Logan Webb pretty good. If my mind is telling me the right stuff, he doesn't really typically pitch well against them. So this team is hitting 300 against Logan Webb with an 855 OPS. They have 7 home runs, 26 RBIs. Guys just hit him. Freddie Freeman 17-49 for 347. Teo is 7 for 22. Max Muncy's 9 for 35. Otani's 8 for 22 with 2 home runs. Muncy has 3 home runs. Pages hits him pretty well, 4 for 7. I mean, Will Smith is 8 for 35. He's just a guy that the Dodgers see well, even though he's one of the best pitchers in baseball. They just typically see him well. They've hit 374 on base. That means they're getting on base over and over against him and slugging really good against him. So for whatever reason it is, some guys just can't pitch to certain teams. And now I'm jinxing it, of course, but it's very much the Dodgers see Logan Webb very well over the time, because when you see them over and over and over again, just typically hit it. Now, he also doesn't have a 7 ERA. So that just makes they're better against those types of guys.
Look, man, it's like clockwork. You see a guy with an elevated ERA pitching against the Dodgers, at least personally for me, I get a little bit queasy because it seems like that guy turns into something great. That was the case with Tyler Mahle last night. 7 innings, just 3 hits, 5 strikeouts, no runs. The Dodgers shut out for the first time this year. It's just something about those guys with the balloon-like ERAs that they figure out how to shove against this team. I don't know what it is. I can't understand it. So, yeah, maybe having Logan Webb, having one of the better pitchers in the league on the mound, forces them to lock in.
I don't know what it is, but I'm going to call that the Marcus jinx from now on.
Sweet.
Whenever there's a guy with a 7+ ERA, it is Marcus jinx.
All right.
I say it every time. You're right. You are absolutely correct. It happens every time you say it, but every time you say it, they do exactly what you want. So
yeah, I should go and look. I mean, I'm gonna look ahead and see if there are no pitching probables for the Cubs series over the weekend, so I can't do that yet. Maybe tomorrow they'll have something up, so we'll see. Non-baseball news. It is NFL Draft Day. Excuse me. Happy Draft Day to everybody who celebrates. And ESPN LA at the Rams draft party,
yes,
correct?
Yeah. Rams. We will be at the Rams draft at Hollywood Park, not the casino, Hollywood Park, which is behind it around Sinopolis and Cosm in that back area back there. Mm-hmm. And we're going to be at the Mason Ireland. Actually, it will be Mason and Sua Cravens, and then DeMarco and Travis. And if you're listening to the morning show, we want Sedano and Cap right after this. Sean McVay is going to join us at 7:15 to talk about the draft. So lots of good things coming your way when it comes to the draft and ESPN Los Angeles.
Very cool. Yeah, the Rams pick at 13 tonight. Lock in, because the Rams actually have a first-round pick. Doesn't feel like that happens very often. So there will be things for Rams fans to pay attention to on night one of the draft. So
I mean, unless they trade it, which is very, very possible.
Very, very possible. If less F them picks Snead gets in his bag, then maybe they don't pick tonight. But I would expect. Well, they have 2 first-round picks. Thanks to
no, they got rid of one.
Oh, that's right. You're correct. They did. They got rid of one. You're right. So they're still at 13, though, so we'll see what happens tonight. In the meantime, the Dodgers back in action tonight, or this afternoon, I should say. 12:45, first pitch time from Oracle Park in San Francisco.
Well, Dave, obviously the news today is Edwin Diaz. You had mentioned last night that he just didn't look right. What led to the decision then, I'm assuming, to have imaging to understand that there were some loose bodies in his right elbow?
Yeah, well, obviously we all saw, the stuff last night, and it was set up, red flags. And so after the game, he had a conversation with our training staff and felt that he had some elbow discomfort, and kind of looking at, what was going on last night. So we just wanted to be proactive and felt that it was smart to get an MRI, get imaging, which we did do. And it showed loose bodies. And so it happens with players, and so it just kind of came to a head last night. And so we felt get the surgery scheduled and expect a second half return.
Considering it is so early in the season, does this at least feel somewhat like best case scenario of finding out this now, being able to schedule the surgery and putting him in a position in which he could be available second half?
Yes, yeah. I think given you losing your starter to a surgery, this is, I would say, best case scenario.
Just to be clear, yesterday was the first time he mentioned anything about the elbow?
Yep.
Did he say if it had been bothering him before, or that was the first time he felt it?
First time he felt it. And so, not to make it about myself, but I had that same surgery at the end of my career, and it's something that just, you have loose bodies and they're asymptomatic until they're not. And so I can kind of relate to, what he was going through. So it just happened last night, and it's unfortunate.
Well, Dave, first just with Shohei Ohtani, and even when you look at this game, I mean, it was clear he was excellent tonight. What were you just seeing from him and how he's continued to just build off of each outing this year?
He was outstanding. You saw it from the outset. Just his where his head was at, the velocity. It was going to be hard to get runs off him tonight, and unfortunately we couldn't support him on the offensive side. But he was. Can't say enough about how good he was tonight on the mound.
With Jack Dreyer, what were you seeing from him, especially just, I guess, really in that at-bat against Patrick Bailey, and how Bailey was able to get to him?
I think it was just one of those things where, he saw a lot of the same pitches, the slider, and then, he got count leverage and then tried to bury it and left it up, and he put a good swing on it. So, tonight he left a fastball up to Lee, and then the breaking ball or something it was to Ramos, and then obviously right there we needed a strikeout, and that's what they felt was best to get the strikeout, and didn't get it there.
What do you make of the offense the last 2 nights?
We just really haven't. Tonight actually, the line score certainly wasn't great, wasn't good. I thought there were a lot more balls hit well tonight versus last night. Production was the same. It was just. I don't have an answer right now, and we got a tough one tomorrow versus Webb. So we got to find a way to keep fighting, keep competing, and hopefully we take some good at bats tomorrow.
Have you seen a drop off in the quality of the bats at all these last couple?
I thought each of the nights, there was a couple pivotal at bats that I think that could have pushed a run across, and we didn't come through. And situationally, and so that certainly impacted the outcome of both these games. And up to this point, I think we've been pretty good situationally. But these last two, when you're not hitting homers and you're not, scoring a bunch of runs, you got to be good situationally. And the last two, the opportunities that we did have, we just couldn't come through there.
Last week and a half or so, Tony and Tucker at the plate. We haven't seen too many hits there. What are you seeing from those two guys?
Yeah, I think Shohei. I don't know. I think that the aggressiveness is still there. I think at times, there's a little bit of too much pull in there, and then I think he makes a concerted effort to stay on the ball, see it a little bit longer, and then gets beat a little bit with the fastball. So I think for me, I've said it for a long time, when he stays to the middle of the field, there's no one better. So with Tuck, I think that he's just, he's just clearly not comfortable, and he's frustrated doing extra work with the hitting guys, but I don't right now have an answer. I think that, when he does get a pitch in the zone, in his hitting zone, he's just not, whether it's not putting a good swing on it or, getting beat. So yeah, I don't really have an answer for that.
How much does kind of like the offensive, when you guys do struggle and those two aren't going, how much tougher does it make life? Obviously, when you have like your two guys at the top that aren't kind of generating chances there for.
It's tough. It's certainly tough. Because you're both those guys obviously are tremendous players, and they're getting the most at bats, and so for them to be productive makes everyone else. It makes it easier and more helpful, and creating stress and building innings and things like that. So, Shohei's still getting on base at close to a 400, clip. But yeah, obviously with Shohei, you expect. We always expect more from Shohei, but it's just one of those things. These last couple of nights, we just haven't really swung the bats well. We haven't.
With Ohtani coming in 91 pitches after the sixth, and it was also his most high-stress inning of the game. When you're weighing a decision to take him out, how much are you weighing the game strategy, but also the need to have him on both sides of the ball for the entire season?
Yeah, that was kind of my math. You could see that early on he was not stressed, but the velocity was up. I haven't looked at it, but it's probably his highest velocity game, from pitch one. And then you take that sixth inning where you can see he was emptying the tank right there, because we clearly haven't been scoring runs. And so for me, the short view is it's easy to kind of take a chance with him in the seventh inning. For me, I just felt that we've got to take the long view with him also. It's April. And so I still felt good about Jack right there and finishing with Vesia and Tanner, or Tanner Vesia. And we just unfortunately couldn't take care of the seventh inning. And that's baseball. But for me, it wasn't too much of a decision as far as toiling to send him back out there after I saw that sixth inning.
When you look at that last at-bat, like how kind of demonstrative he was during the mound visit with Will, to the way he kind of celebrated coming off, is that about as animated as you've seen him, especially in the middle of a pitching start like that? Absolutely.
And I think that, as we all watch pitchers and, certainly starting pitchers, and when they, get to a crescendo, a climax in a game, and they exhaust that adrenaline, that emotion, it's hard to manufacture that again the next inning. And so then you add in the stress. And so, again, it's April. I'm not going to push any of our guys to the point for something else to happen, that we don't want.